That's not straight at all, is it? You're still not straight. Oh, there we go. That's not straight. Do you know what I'll do? Hi. Sorry, I do have an apology to make. I haven't been posting regularly. But as I will explain later on in the video, there's a very good reason why. Also, I really haven't had much to film recently because I haven't been able to buy many K-pop albums or merchandise recently because I'm trying to save the money for the dog. And I don't like doing the ramen talks like close together because like I like to do them spaced out. However, you will be pleased to hear that I have broken down and ordered some more albums. I've ordered 4 more albums. Because I can't control myself. I have an addiction and I really need to say something about it because it's becoming a problem. But all the albums I ordered weren't that expensive, so we're good. It's going to be fine. And you will notice that I'm wearing a hat. Now, I don't usually wear hats. I like hats. I personally like hats. I don't usually wear hats because it makes me look a bit weird. As you can see right now, I've got a hat on. Now, the reason that is because I haven't washed my hair yet, and I'm going to do that in a bit, and it looks disgusting, so I've decided to cover it. And if I could do the same with my face, I would, but I can't. Today's video is going to be the story of Miss Sadie Smith. No, I'm pretty sure that that is a famous person, and if it is, it's not her. I'm talking about my dog. Now, after I've explained the story, I'm going to go downstairs where she is right now and show you her. She is very wary of everything new, so the chances are that she probably will not like the camera, and I'll only show her for a bit if that's the case, but if not, I'll get her, you know, I'll get her all in all her glory. Now, this is a very, very long, traumatic story. It isn't going to be very funny. However, because it's so traumatic, I have tried my best to block out most of what happened on that day. So if I can't remember bits, or if I like skip over a bit, or if I tell it wrong, I do apologise. It's because I'm trying to block out the memory. But I do feel that this is necessary to talk about because I want to stop this happening like again or to other people. Last time I told you about Sadie, which was like months ago now, no, like a bit over a month ago, I literally found out, like a week ago probably, or the day before, that I was going to get her. Now, I told you about everything, the fact that they don't know whether she was spayed, but they do know that basically they went to go and do the spaying operation and they already found a scar, and so basically they can't be 100% sure if she's been spayed, so I have to look out for signs in the future if she's coming into season or if she's in heat, and then I have to go and get her spayed. So we left with the fact that I knew that I was going to get her. Now the plan was that I was going to have a briefing, a nervous dog briefing with an expert by phone on 9 AM on that Sunday morning. That is Sunday the 21st. I want to say 21st. Let me just have a look. Yes, it was Sunday the 21st. So it's been a little less than a month since I've had her. And then then they were going to bring her over to me so she could be introduced to my mum, who hadn't been introduced to her because she's shielding, and then we would leave her with us. However, the plan changed that morning because they wanted to conduct the nervous dog talk in person, which I understood. So I had to go there very quickly at 9 AM, really unprepared. I hadn't even like brushed my teeth or done anything to my face or anything. I hadn't basically woken up yet. I'd only woken up half an hour before, let's just point this out. So at 9 o'clock I went to go and have the briefing, and then they were going to give her to me, put her in the car, and then I was going to take her home. So the briefing went fine. It was like 10 minutes or so. This dog expert, behaviouralist expert, told me about all the things you need to look out for, like nervous dogs. She's a very, very nervous dog. Let me just point that out. Everything scares her. So the talk was over and we got her in the car. She was already feeling very nervous, but she actually willingly went into the car herself. And we clipped her into the car. Now, I wasn't aware of this, but it's actually illegal not to have a dog guard in the back of the car. And I didn't have one, but she said as long as you keep the seats up, you sit in the back with her, sit in the back so she can't jump over it, and you just keep an eye on her, you should be fine. So I did that. And throughout the car journey, you could tell she was scared because she had her ears back, she curled up into a ball. But other than that, I saw no other signs of anything. Also, can I just preface, I apologise if, and this is a very traumatic experience that happened to me, but I probably will try and make it funny at some point because that's how I cope with things. So anyway, so I decided, because my dad was on a tutoring lesson online, I decided to wait in the car for 10 minutes. So one, he could finish, and two, she could calm down. Now actually what had turned out had happened is that he cancelled his lesson, so I decided, okay, I'm just going to go in. So what I did was I attempted to unloop her lead from the back seats of the car. At this point, she did not enjoy me being in the car with her because obviously everything's new. She knows who I am because I've been with her 3 times now, but she was not happy at all. Successfully got her out of the boot of the car, and you could just tell straight away she was not happy at all. Now, I would like to preface that I was already feeling uneasy and like something might go wrong because the plans changed last minute. And it probably didn't help that my energy was like that because it reflected onto her. So, this is when it all starts to go wrong. I attempted to get her into the house. She did not want to go in the house at all. She was absolutely petrified. At this point, I only had one on lead and the dog's trust collar on her. Now, unbeknownst to me, I'm not sure how this happened, but her lead was hooked on to the ring that held her ID tag on, not the D-ring. Now, this is something I have to stress to anyone. Do not clip the dog's lead onto anything other than the D-ring. The D-ring is designed to be physically strong enough to hold the dog if they pull. The circle with the ID tag on is not. So, unbeknownst to me, the clip was clipped onto that loop. Now you can guess what's going to happen. So, because she wasn't going to go into the house, there's a passageway that leads back through the garden from my house. And I thought that might be a less scary route for her. So I decided to try and take her that way. And I got to the end of the road and she was still pulling. She wanted to get as far away from me as possible. And that's when I heard the snap. And the inevitable had happened. The loop that was holding our ID tag had snapped. And the next thing I saw, she bolted down the street. At this point, I went into fight or flight mode and I ran after her. That is the single most stupidest thing that I could have done. Because she's a nervous dog, if I run after her, she's only going to run away from me more. However, I had no other option because I needed to get her back. So I ran after her. And if you don't know, I live in an area that is partially rural. I live on the outskirts of a city in the suburbs, and there is a vast amount of greenery and woodland near to where I live. And that's where she decided to run off to. So I ran down the street screaming for help and asking people, have they seen a sandy coloured German Shepherd that answers to the name of Sadie. That was her name at the time. And they pointed me, luckily, in the right direction, and I finally caught up with her on the big open field around the back. I saw her not harassing, but like trying to play with this other dog. I had to insanely apologise to the person whose dog it was that she was messing with, because obviously she's off lead, and you're not really supposed to have your dogs off lead in case other dogs don't react to them. So I caught up with her, but as soon as I got near her, she bolted again. Now at this point, I was freaking out. I was very nervous that I would never see her again. I was scared that she might hurt someone, she might hurt herself, and also in this vicinity there is a lake. And this lake does not have a very good reputation because people, usually teenagers, have gone swimming there and have died because the lake is very unsafe. Luckily she hadn't gone into the lake, but it was extremely muddy that day, and I was wearing nice clothes. So at this point I'm calling my mum and dad, I'm calling my sisters, I'm calling everyone I know. I put out a post on Facebook that said, please God help me, I've lost my dog. And I explained the situation, that she was a new dog, nervous dog. Oh, I carried on searching. My mum and dad were also searching. My sisters were also searching. My sister actually brought her fiance over to search as well. My best friend came out to help me search. And I want to say that at this point it was about 11 o'clock, just probably past 11 o'clock. And we searched for her for 3 hours. You know that I am not, shall we say, fond of the human race. Basically, I don't have a lot of faith in humanity because I tend to find that people can be quite horrible sometimes. However, this situation actually restored a lot of my faith in humanity because the amount of response that I got from my post overwhelmed me. Let me see if I can find it on Facebook. So the post that I put up actually gathered 350 shares, and I got 41 comments. It was posted onto my local community blog and my local area blog, and I actually had a family come and help that had a drone, and they searched for them. I called Canine Rescue UK West Midlands. I actually called, my parents called Dog Trust, and they sent 2 people out to help and brought a dog that she was familiar with as well. The amount of people that came to help me was basically my entire village. And I couldn't be more grateful to everyone that came out and helped. And I just don't know what to say to everyone because I had basically people giving me their leads, giving me all their treats. So there's several times where we spotted her and then she ran off. She spooked some horses. I'm fairly certain she killed a bird. She got insanely muddy. I'm fairly certain she did something to her paws because I actually ended up with barbed wire scratches and I cut my hand. Where's the hand? Where's it gone? There's a scar here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a scar here. I probably can't see. Where I cut my hand open. I had stings from stinging nettles across most of my hand and arms. I basically didn't care what had happened to me. I just carried on searching. My shoes got bogged down in mud. Several times I actually broke down and had a mental breakdown in the middle of a field and no one else was around me. I actually thought I was never going to find my way home because the area is so vast. I actually might want to show you how vast the area is. I live here. This is the amount of area that she could be in. Look at all this green space. So she could have been anywhere in there. And basically, I searched through all of it. My sister eventually found me and we searched together. I almost killed my sister because she's asthmatic and running around she had an asthma attack in the middle of a field. However, at about 2 o'clock, we cornered her into a field. It wasn't an ideal situation because everyone online told me you need to have as few people as possible, you need to be the one to call her, you need to be calling out for a name, and you also need to be on the ground because nervous dogs prefer it when you're at their level. So you need to be on the ground, sit on the ground. The advice I got from all the experts was sit on the ground, as soon as she looks at you, sit on the ground, and encourage her to come over to you. Either she'll come over to you or she'll sit down. And you need to be patient, and eventually they will come over to you if you've got a treat and take the treat. So that's what we did. It was not an ideal situation, but I couldn't tell the people who were helping me to leave, could I? So there was about 15 of us, possibly a bit less than that, but it was a large field with a path running in between it. I think it was a farmer's field actually, and there was a gate here and a gate over there. So I blocked that. We had like people in a circle, and she didn't really move from this circle, which was, I'm so lucky that she didn't decide. I think she was getting tired at that point. I'm just lucky she didn't decide to go anywhere else. But she was a bit tired, I think, at that point. So she decided to just like go between the people. She was barking at this point as well. And she doesn't really bark usually. And after about half an hour, I'm so incredibly lucky that she actually came over to me and I managed to grab her collar. And then we put about 70 leads on her. Because this is another thing, this is the reason what happened. She's so incredibly strong because she's a young, female, fit German Shepherd. She's so strong. And luckily, I managed to catch her. And this was also the time that Dogs Trust showed up, because Dogs Trust that we got her from was like an hour away. So they showed up with Dakota, the husky that she's like really keen on. And luckily, we walked her home fine. Again, she would not go in the house. But the Dogs Trust staff were there at this point to make sure everything was alright. And they let me know what had happened with the D-ring. You're supposed to put it on the D-ring. So we tried the back way again, and she went into the garden the back way. She went into the garden, and however, she just would not move from the garden. She was still so scared. The Dogs Trust people had gone by this point because they obviously can't stay there all day, but they'd calmed her down, but she was just too scared to move. So what we did was we brought my other dog, Polo. You've seen him. He's exposed himself indecently on this channel many a time. We brought him over, and she immediately changed and went inside the house. Just like that, she completely changed. She found a little spot. She was still wary of everything, but she eventually settled down. And I developed, for a couple of days, probably not post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't think it went that far as to say I had PTSD, but I stopped eating for 2 days, and I just basically didn't want to eat because I lost my appetite. I was very depressed for 2 days. It only happened a bit over 2 or 3 days, and afterwards I got better really quickly because I'm quite good in that sense that if I get depressed, I can pull myself out of that depression quite quickly. So I got over that. And it's been a very, very slow process, but I am finally at a place where she's happy with me, she's happy with my family members. My dad she finds a bit scary, but I have trained her to so far sit. She knows her name, kind of. She knows how to stay, kind of. We just took her on a walk today, and that was the first successful walk. We tried yesterday for the first time, and it didn't really go so well. She was a bit scared of everything. But today she really, really, really was fine with it. She really likes my sister and her fiance. I don't know how, because all I was said to me, she was nervous, she's going to be scared of new people. Don't invite her to new people for like a week. However, the opposite of that has happened. Now, what they do say is dogs can react differently to being in kennels to home. So there can be like a nervous dog in a kennel, but then as soon as they get home, they're completely different. And I think that's happened with her because she is nervous, but she's so much better than she was before. She trusts, I would say the trust between us is slowly developing. If she's scared, she tends to run into a corner, or if we're out and about, she'll run to me. She is absolutely obsessed with squeaky toys. I've had to buy 2 new ones already because she's ripped one of them apart. She's a meaty girl. She loves the meat. She's not too keen on the dry food. And she takes treats so incredibly nicely. And I don't even have to say sit anymore, and she just sits. So I'm just so incredibly grateful and happy and over the moon that everything worked out well. And she's just my dog. And she's incredible, and I could not be more pleased. And in some ways I'm glad that this happened because I feel like we got closer a bit. So, I apologise if that wasn't as funny as I said I was going to make it, but what I'm going to do now is after I've told you all the story, and I probably will keep updating you with like ramen talks about how she's doing, but I don't really want to push the camera in her face that much. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go downstairs and show you her, because I need to show you how beautiful she is. My sister will probably make fun of me for being in a hat, but I don't really care. So here we go. Get out the thing. Right, here we go. Has she been alright?
Yeah, why are you very...
I can see.
Tom, I'm literally right here.
I can't see it. I can see your foot. As you can see, she's a bit nervous and wary that this camera's come out. It's just, I don't want to scare her. Okay, we won't stand her for too long then. There you go. Look, she's going into a bed because she's scared. It's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off then.
Freaking around.
See, look, she's okay now. There we go. This is Pratt.
That's his name.
We've called him Pratt because Mum said, who was the actor that played the lead in the new Jurassic Park film? So I said Chris Pratt, and she was like, well, we're going to call him Pratt.
Why do you call him Chris?
Because Pratt's funnier. This is
That's
Pratt.
a stupid name.
This is Sebastian, the giraffe. We've had to repair him several times because she just rips him apart. She doesn't really like anything other than squeaky things. She plays with these balls a couple times, but well, no one can see me. So this is Sadie. You look like Sadie. Yes, you are. See, look, she doesn't give a crap now. Camera's over there, but she's fine over here. I don't know if I'm still recording now because I've got no batteries. I've got little battery in my camera. She likes having her bits rubbed and her belly rubbed. I've successfully potty trained her, or house trained her, almost. She has a tendency to not be able to hold herself, so like in the morning she'll do a poo and a wee on the floor, but luckily I took a tip off from one of my friends that said put a pad in the garden, like a puppy training pad in the garden. What are you laughing at?
Oh, I also said that.
Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time, did I?
Just saying.
And it actually worked. She went out more readily than usual, and she didn't do it on the pad, but she did do a poo. She's been doing poos and wees in the garden ever since. And they did tell me at Dogster that she wasn't going to get any bigger, but I feel like she gets bigger every single day. Don't you think she gets bigger?
Yeah,
She gets she's gigantic. She is massive. I'm massive. And her claws are really hard. Because she has a tendency to, whenever I come home, attack me. And she'll attack Rose when because she sleeps in Rosie's room because my room's too small, you've seen. She attacks Rose in the morning, she makes Rose get up in the morning.
At what time?
Like 5 o'clock in the morning. She actually got Rose up, what time was it?
She woke me up to what you mean today?
No, when she stepped on your face.
She stepped on my face.
Or your ear or something.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, she stepped on Rose's face.
I had earrings in and I've not wearing earrings since because I don't trust them.
So are you going to even attempt to like say hi? She's done loads better considering I thought it was going to take months. So they actually said to me it would take 3 to 6 months for her to settle in properly. I think she's come on leaps and bounds in the 3 weeks that we've had her. She can be a bit finicky sometimes, but other than that, she's great. Give one shot of her, look, there she is. Ooh, doesn't like it. I'm sorry, I'm going to put it away. And that's it.